Hi, this is 50 Shades of Stefanya, where I talk about anything and everything under the sun, under the shade, wherever, along with my guests. I hope you join me. Hello, everybody. My name is Stefanya, and this is 50 Shades of Stefanya. And today's episode is Real Estate is Now a Good Time to Buy. Wow, that is a wonderful topic. I'm sure a lot of you that are looking for homes, either looking to sell or looking to buy, are going to want to tune into this one because I've got a great guest for you. And this is Edith Melindez with JPAR Real Estate in San Antonio. And she was actually my realtor when I first moved to San Antonio, and she was a great help to me. In fact, the first house that I bought is gone up in value big time, and she knew all about that. So I'm going to turn this over to Miss Edith here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about real estate. But before we do that, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for providing the bubbly, by the way. I love
Oh,
it.
we have glasses of wine.
Aren't they so cute? Look at this crystal. It's so nice.
Yes, a
Very
little
nice. I like
bubbly.
it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, how did you know that, about, especially when I was looking for a home, I was in another state
Right.
and I was looking for a home and I just could not be physically in Texas,
Right.
looking for a home. And so she was able to help me actually remotely, which was like totally, normally I wouldn't do that. But how did you know where to go and how did you know what would work for me?
That's a great question. So, when I actually work with people who are coming in from different states, just so you do know, we have so many transplants with the cost of inflation from the East Coast down to the West Coast. I'm a transplant myself from Northern California. And I didn't have a realtor help my family and I. We just had to do it the old school way, hoping and praying for a miracle that somebody would stick a sign in front of their house and say, hey, we're going to sell our house and we're going to negotiate something. So, kind of to tell you a little bit about myself, if I can. So,
Absolutely.
I wanted to represent San Antonio and be that resource for our community, for people who were in the same situation as myself, coming in from California. Had I known that I could have a realtor kind of just get me going from the beginning on the neighborhoods, have those, crucial conversations on my lifestyle, what I like to do. I like the hiking, I like the puppies, I like green, I like XYZ, all those things that people ask for. Had I known that I could do that remotely, it would have made it so much easier for me. So fast forward, you and I had talked, I think, for a while, and I asked you, okay, well, tell me about yourself. I always want to get to know you as a person, because if I don't know you as a person and I don't know what your hobbies are, if I don't know you as an individual, what your work is, where your work is located, then I'm not going to know more or less on, vicinity. How close do you want to be close to like a studio? How close do you want to be to a park if you have dogs? How close do you want to be to your job? Where are you going to be working? So we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and I zeroed in on a couple neighborhoods that, you seem to spot on and say, you know what? I actually like this in neighborhood. It doesn't look like a cookie cutter neighborhood. It doesn't look like this, and you had some valid questions as well. So we have to adapt and pivot. So yeah, that's a good question.
And I remember she said, this house, if you buy this house, this area is going to go up. And she was right. She had a
Yeah.
crystal ball.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty genuine. I've been in the industry since 2006. I started off as an admin, volunteering, and so that kind of helped me get going on working with customers directly. Once I got licensed, I was able to go ahead and negotiate, get out there in the field, and kind of get more experience. But I've been through a recession. This is going to be my second, we'll talk about that. But yeah, I knew that you said that you're very money smart. You wanted an investment. You kind of touched base with me and explained to me in regards to where your goals were, where your budget is, what kind of style of entertaining you had. And so when I was able to pull up houses that had bonuses for you, if it was going to give you an incentive to pay for certain closing costs, if you were going to get a deal, definitely I had to go and show you that. So knowing that your house was located right by a very popular park called Government Canyon State Park. That park is known for dinosaur feet. I don't think a lot of people in San Antonio even know that. Like, people go there and they'll hike all these rocky areas just to go and see a dinosaur footprint that was left there like millions of years ago. So a lot of people, if they want to get away for a while out of the suburbs and they go to the state park, your house is like right there. And I know that you said that you love entertaining and you love to try, you want to try to get out there and explore the San Antonio Hill Country. So I already knew that this neighborhood was going to explode. Why? Because there's a military city, we're a military city. And two, if you're not going to be in it for a long time, there's going to be a line of people waiting for
Mhm.
that house just because of where it's specifically located.
So, and I'm really happy that you did that. That's good. And
Yeah.
I know you have several, well, lots and lots of happy clients because you treat them all so fabulous. So, so let's just get right down to it. When is a good time to buy? I mean, is now a good time to buy, or when is?
Yeah, that's a very, very popular question. So let's go back. You know how they say you have to know your history because history is going to repeat itself, right? So I was actually in your position right before a recession. So I was a single parent at the time and I was qualified for, and you're going to laugh. This was back in 2006, 2007 when the rates were 6, 7, and 8%.
Yeah.
All right. So they raised my rent. They said you got 2 months to figure out where you're going to go, otherwise you can renew your contract. And I said, "Oh, heck no. Heck no. I'm not going to do that." I remember my mom said, real estate, you need to have it. So fast forward, the recession happens, and I said, you know what? I need to buy a house regardless. The most serious of buyers today, kind of like back then, they're going to buy regardless of whether it's 8%, 9%, 10%. Back in the 80s, it was 17%.
God, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people who are really serious about buying, they're going to get into a house regardless. Why? Because they have a good mentor, they have a good realtor that's going to tell them, you know what comes up must come
Down.
exactly. So that's why I ended up purchasing in 2007. And in that short period of time that I've owned the house, it's gone up about $100,000 in equity.
Wow.
So nobody would have been able to tell me that, my house payments around 650. And now those same houses in the neighborhood that they're rebuilding all around my neighborhood are going for close to $225,000. So I knew that history was going to repeat itself. So the question that you asked me, is it a great time to buy right now? What I'm telling a lot of my buyers is, look, I understand that you're scared because of the rates. I understand that you want your principal, insurance, your taxes, and of course your principal, insurance, taxes, and what's the last one? Good Lord. Principal, insurance, taxes, and interest.
Interest.
We
Yeah.
can't forget about interest. It's
Oh,
like it's like
how can we forget
it's
about
like it's
interest?
like your taxes. You can't get rid of it until you pay it
No.
off, right? So that's what we call your monthly payment. It's PITI. So right now, the biggest issue is someone who last year could have qualified for almost $400,000 can no longer do
Right.
400,000. Now that same house, to get the payment that they wanted, they're going to have to go and look for a house that's half the price. $200,000 because of the rates. Back that we were spoiled. We were spoiled for these past 10 years with the twos, the threes, the fours. And even then, people were buying. But here's the thing, Stephanie. When you have a low inventory of homes in San Antonio, and you have the majority of San Antonio out there in the field with their agent looking at these houses, making a huge line, and your offer is one of 20, what are the odds that your offer is going to get accepted and you're going to get that house with the low rate?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably slim to none.
Yeah.
So what's that going to do to you after a while? Let's say we've been looking
Give
for a house.
up.
Exactly. So that's what happened last year. Now those same people who are interested in buying a house, when they had it good at 3, 4, 5% interest rate, now they're trying to get into the market now. And now we still have that low inventory, but now it's become a buyer's market. Last year it was a seller's market. You can sell uh what is it called, like a mobile home in the back of your house and say, oh, this is a house with extra bedrooms and I'm going to charge 200,000. And there's memes that talked about it where um they were renting out. As a matter of fact, they were renting out like those pop-up tents that people take,
Oh my gosh.
and they were charging 500 because it had a bathroom and you could have a closet where you sleep. So yeah, there's memes about it, but now people are faced with it being a buyer's market, because now sellers, they think that they could get in on that market. I remember last year I was telling my sellers, hey, we need to get your house on the market yesterday. If we don't ride that wave, you're not going to get the 20 or the 30 or the $40,000 over asking like everybody's doing today. We had to do what they call a waiver of appraisal. So if you put in an offer for $40,000 over asking, so let's say it's 200. If it's 200,000 and you put in 240, if the house came back and it was appraised for 200,000, it was your responsibility to pay for that 30, $40,000 over that you asked for, or you added to the price out of your own pocket. So that's what was happening last year. So last year was a seller's market. So you had, as a seller, had 10 to 20 offers to look at. All the pretty colors, the pretty numbers, and you crunch them down. You had choices as a seller. Now, let's fast forward this year. So this year, now you are negotiating with the buyer. Look, I'm super desperate to sell my house. I need to move. There's an objective, right, for our sellers. Hey, this is a reason why I need to move. This happened. And so now we're finding that sellers don't even have 5 offers. Sometimes they'll have a house on the market for a month or two, or maybe a week, but their buyers now are seeing that they're not selling on the
Mhm.
first day. So as a buyer's agent, they're going to say, well, you know what, I do actually need assistance with my closing costs. You know what, will the seller actually pay for X, Y, and Z? So now we're going back to the negotiation. So it's no longer a seller's market, but buyers, they're still out there, and buyers can today negotiate and get in on a house. Though the rate may be high at the moment, they may be able to get the house that they want and not have to pay as much.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. So there is hope. There is hope.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can definitely get in. You have your mortgage loan officer. They go over the taxes for the neighborhood. All the houses have different taxes, and they plug in the sales price. Are we going to be asking for closing costs as a buyer's agent? As a listing agent, at the end, we get these offers. And so you're going to be able to choose, as a seller of a house, which offer is lucrative to me. And, let's talk about the relationship with the realtor. Let's see, if we can come to minds with the contract. Yeah, absolutely.
What was the coolest house that you've ever sold?
Oh man. Okay, I think there's a couple. I think the coolest house I want to say was a house out in Selma. It was on Alton Boulevard. I'm not going to give the actual house, but it looked like it was a custom home built house. This was probably about 7 years ago or so. And you wouldn't believe it, but it's actually in an area that is known to have lots of land. So nobody has fences, and because nobody has fences, it feels really open and free. There's doe everywhere, there's deer, right? And then you get into this house and you're thinking it's going to be cookie cutter. You go in though, and it seems bigger than what it looks on the outside. It had the Mr. and Mrs. closet, his and hers closet, double shower heads on each side. You can have an entire
Wow.
party in the shower. There was glass, so you can kind of see each other, but not really the silhouette. And the house was definitely for entertaining. It's definitely for entertaining because it had a huge den that opened up into the living room, so you can see people watching football in the living room. Really tall sky ceilings.
Wow.
On the outside, it looked like a castle.
Wow.
Yeah, it looked
That's
like
really cool.
yeah, oh man. You're not really in Europe, but this house had that European look
Yeah.
to it without being in Europe. It's in
Sweet.
Texas, in probably about 2 minutes away from a major highway.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, so what's the weirdest house that you ever been in?
Okay. So, there's okay, all right. So, we're all adults here, right?
Well, all right,
Yeah.
do any here. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm.
Well, I guess we have to have some sips of the wine before we progress to this next
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and so you know what? I definitely become friends with a lot of my clients because you kind of build rapport with your clients. And at this time, I was working with a gentleman, and he was, single male. I'm a single female. I'm trying to be as professional as possible at all times. If they have questions, I try to answer them. Sometimes they'll throw in that little like flirtatious comment,
Of course, you're
and you.
pretty lady. Of course, you're gonna,
Aw.
Who wouldn't want to?
Yeah, so we were actually shopping on the market for a while. We had been seeing houses. This client was very particular about what he wanted to spend his money on. We had been in the time that we were looking. We were coming out of a era of short sales and foreclosures, so you can kind of get an idea when people are upset, getting foreclosed on. They will punch walls through, holes
Wow.
through walls. Yeah, they'll leave their place looking messy and things like that. And unfortunately, the bank will reclaim the property. They'll send out a broker, to come and price it. And unfortunately, yeah, we were looking at a lot of those because, my client wanted the square footage. My client wanted to build a future for, possible wife and kids and things like that. And so the one house that kind of stood out to me, which really made it awkward for me to compose myself, was we went to go see this 2-story house. And I remember there was another realtor and their client leaving, and I was able to get into the house right not too long after that. And normally, what I like to do when I go in, I'll try to get ahead so I can, if the curtains are closed, I try to open them up. I'll try to turn on the lights and kind of get all that going for my client before they gradually start stepping into the house. So I ran into the house, and then I know that they normally start downstairs. So there was, really well lit downstairs. So I ran straight upstairs, and I went and looked for the master. And through the master, so these 2-story houses. There's some houses that are built kind of funky stuff. And so that's why for me, I was like, okay, this is a really weird floor plan. You go into the master, and there's like, I guess it used to be like a connection to what's supposed to be the attic, right? So normally you pack your Christmas stuff, you pack your, extra belongings, your winter clothes that you're no longer going to use. Well, okay, so that's where I got surprised. I opened this little door because, curious Edie, like I'm going to open this up and I'm going to turn on. Usually there's like a little light switch somewhere.
Bats are gonna fly out or something.
Oh man, you never know, right? So I have to make sure everything is well lit so that if anything, the client comes up, I can say, oh, now I know this is what it is and this is what they use it for or whatnot. So have you ever heard of like a man and his tools?
Yeah.
You know how they have the cork board and
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
hang
Yeah.
their
Oh yeah.
tools?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So this little attic actually had a cork board with linings of what used to be there, and they were not tools. They were not tools. They were fun mommy and daddy tools. Like you can just
So
there's
was it a BDSM room?
yeah, it was a BDSM room. I saw different kinds of whips.
Wow.
I saw what could have been used for a strap on,
Woohoo.
and Oh my
So
gosh.
it was like the outline, like how they like chalk the body,
Yeah,
it was like an outline of the
I
different
guess once
things.
they finish using it, they wash it off and they want to make sure they're really, I guess they want it in a certain place.
Huh.
So that kind of tells you who the sellers
Wow.
were. They wanted a certain toy to be hung up in a particular way because it was lined out. They left a strap or two there. They left a couple things behind.
Huh.
So it was apparent. You can tell what it was and what they used it for. So that was
Wow.
so awkward. I stepped out of there so quick. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. How am I supposed to present this to my male client?
And now I'd like to show you the red room.
Oh my gosh, the red
You've
light
seen 50 Shades
special.
of Grey, right?
Yeah, the red light, or back in the early 90s they used to call it the red light special.
Oh,
Yeah, in
okay.
the 90s, the red light special, or what is it in Germany? What is it? The red light district or something like that,
Well,
right?
in Amsterdam, it's a red light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just backed out of there, and sometimes you can become surprised together, because what am I supposed to say? Hey, Mr. Client, let me go ahead and show you the master. Oh,
Hey, by the way, if you want to have some
let's
fun.
let's go ahead and check out this. I think that this might be the walk-in closet. Let's go and take a look at it. Oh my gosh. I Yeah, that was, we were laughing so hard the
Oh
moment
my
he went
gosh.
in there.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Oh my gosh.
hilarious.
Yeah, of course the jokes came out and things like that. And I
Yeah,
was,
that's
you
okay.
can't do anything but laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna come back for it. Maybe they're in the transition of moving, or maybe, they're gonna come back and play a little. I don't know. Do not touch anything.
Yeah.
Please don't touch anything. You don't know.
Oh my
If they
gosh.
don't come and pick it up, if you decide to buy this house, if you don't pick it up, it's yours. It comes with the sale of the property,
Woohoo! I want
right?
that pink flogger, please.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was one of the weirdest, I think,
Oh my
the
god.
weirdest things that I've come across. Yeah.
Well, when you were looking for homes for me, there was a
Oh,
house. Oh my gosh. The shower. She was showing me pictures like ahead of time, like where they just have the pictures in the MLS. But the shower kind of curled around like a shell.
so
So you had to kind of walk in a little bit. And I was so intrigued. And the house looked really, really cool.
yeah.
So anyway, so she went to the house, and so she's on her phone, and I see her, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to go in this house and check it out." So, would you like to tell about the Kukui house?
Yeah, so I think with that one, I was trying to get ahead of the game. So the one thing that realtors never tell their clients is sometimes the we use what we used to use more often, Supra boxes. They're these metal, like, little key holders. They're like little master locks, but you actually have to put your phone. So if this is the lock, you have to put your phone right next to it so that it can unlock. And
Okay.
sometimes these get really stuck. So what realtors don't tell you is, hey, I need to get ahead of you so that I can make sure that I open the property in time. So by the time you're stepping out and walking up to the driveway, I should have already been able to go in there, get the layout, see where everything is, and present you like the room each one at a time. Um, Sometimes people will just go along with you and be surprised along with you, but in this case,
Half the fun.
yeah, I know that I for the moment and the time that you came, you were there for, I believe, a limited amount of time. You said I can come for, I believe, a couple days or something like that, right?
Oh wait, no, no, this was remotely. This was the when you showed me remotely.
Ah,
Yeah, no, because you were on the phone, and then you were walking around, and then you were like, tell me how scared you were.
yeah, no, that one. No, I think that one you actually did come. You had
No, I didn't see that one. I didn't.
the
No,
kukui?
because you lost. She went into this place. I know I'm telling her story for her, but
I'm like,
no. So you went into the place,
right.
and I'm seeing it, and you're like, oh, I just don't have a good feeling about this. Oh, I just don't. No,
Yeah, that one.
I don't have a good feeling about this, and so I'm watching all this on the phone, right, real time,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, I wonder what's in here. And then she opens up this door, or like a cupboard or something under the stairs or something.
Yep, that's the one.
And that freaked you out.
No, there is so many weird and crazy things with that. So I am really huge on energy. Some people are oblivious to it. I'm really open to it because I believe we are energy souls. Um, so with this particular house, I'm gonna call it I call it the Kukui house, and this is a reason why. So I'm moving this lockbox and I'm trying to get it open, right? So I open it up and I start going in it and I'm starting to take the pictures for you. Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful house. You walk in and you have like this foyer. It's so beautifully presented where you can drop your
I
keys.
remember.
It had really nice entrance. And then to the left of the house, they have this really, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Achoo. Yeah, they has this open floor plan for like the kitchen and this huge entertaining room for like dinner and guests. It's almost like presidential suite. Like if you were to go and get a hotel and get the top, the president's suite, that's kind of how it felt like. And there was windows after windows. They converted basically the double garage into a huge double like conference room or some sort of humongous den. It was a huge area.
But there was a big but.
Oh, okay. So I felt all these great things for you. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. So then I'm over here, with my phone, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go ahead. I'm gonna walk towards the back of the house so you can kind of see what's going on. And you're being very patient with me, by the way. You're like, yeah, let's go ahead and check out the master. How does that look? And I start going back there, and my phone started not working. So I was, ever seen it like in the movies? You're just like, eh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, hello, hello. All right, can you hear me? And then the call drops. I was like, oh my gosh, why is my phone not working? I'm not even on Wi-Fi. That shouldn't even be happening. I'm on my data. And then I got AT&T. So San Antonio is great with AT&T. So then I'm like, okay, let me call you back.
Not
And
not a paid endorsement.
right. So then I call you back, and then I start getting this feeling like going towards the master. I start feeling like something like, have you ever been like in a sauna where you after you the door closes and somebody just pours right like water right on the rocks, and it starts getting like dense, not in regards to the heat, but um you
Psychically.
it's like it's not the heat physically, it's the density of the air
Mm.
in the volume of the space, if that makes sense. And we were in a big house and I felt like I was already being enclosed by this dense
Hmm.
thickness. And I started my heart started to pick up on that. I started beating and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Let me give her a call back. So then I start calling you, and then my phone, it just would not let me dial you out. It would not let me communicate with you. It wouldn't let me connect to the outside world. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to put on my brave face because, she wants pictures. I'm going to send it to her. So then I start recording. And then my phone starts doing this weird little like up and down screen thing, like kind
Like
of like
something
it's
else was controlling
like
it.
like well, kind of like if you saw Poltergeist in
Oh
19,
yeah.
like all the up and down where
Uh-huh.
you kind of see the white noise.
Yeah.
It started doing that.
Oh my.
That's when I was like,
It's
okay, you know
haunted.
what? I'm gonna go and see this house as fast as possible. So then I go into the room. My heart's beating like crazy. I go and check out the restroom, and it had these like cowboy shutters, that separate the master bathroom from the master. I was like, enough there. I don't need to see that bathroom. I've seen plenty of those. I kind of have the layout in my head. That way I can explain it to her. Then I got back out to where the other side of the house. So the other side of the house, opposite of the master in that back area, was a long hallway. It was semi dark. And I was like, okay, I can't leave without taking pictures of these places. So then I start looking at everything, and my phone wasn't working at all by then. I could not make a call out to you for the life of me. And I open up this, and remind you, I had already seen the master bathroom, which is now we're on the opposite side of the house. So if you're looking at it, the closet that I opened up would have been some kind of place where that master bathroom kind of was, but I'm not sure if they were. It doesn't make sense that that master closet that's or that closet that's in the hallway meant for like towels for guests and things like that. I don't think that was meant to be tied to the master bathroom at all. Because when I opened up that closet, I saw like, I saw like recent woodwork. Like somebody just broke those shelves and they were trying to get it working, but there was light behind that.
Oh,
I'm like, where is the light
oh,
coming in behind this closet? Is there a secret room? And I know that there are houses here in Texas where there's secret rooms. So I'm not allowed to be moving things
sure.
around. It's not my home. I don't want to be responsible for anything breaking. But I opened it and I look back there and I'm like trying to take a peek and I'm like, what is back there? There's a room back there. I just got weird vibes, closed it and walked out, locked it up, and I called you.
Yeah, she was freaking out.
Oh
She's
my
like, "Oh my
gosh.
God, nope, nope, this is the Kukui house. Nope, no,
Kukui, el kukui.
the
And
Kukui lives here."
I'm so grateful that you understood me and where I was coming from because I think anybody else would have said, "Girl, you're crazy."
Well, you are crazy, but that's okay. It's a good
A
crazy.
lot of people may not believe in ghosts though,
Yeah.
or they may not have experienced something like that. And so I didn't want you to think that I didn't want to show you this amazing house.
Oh, no, 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 I got it. Well, hey, well, speaking of spirits, which room of the house do ghost agents hate selling the most? So which rooms, do ghost agents hate selling the most in a house?
Uh,
The living room.
I'm gonna drink that for
Okay,
that
yeah.
one.
Okay, wait, we have to do another, wine
Oh,
here. There we
okay.
go. That required another sip of wine.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what type of, okay, so we talked a little bit about, timing, and we talked a little bit about negotiations and stuff. So
Right.
what type of realtors are there and what type of accreditations are needed? I mean, this is something I think good information for a
Yeah.
potential buyer needs to be aware of.
Right. So we're not all the same. Okay. Actually had that question this week. They're like, listing agent, what is that? I'm like, okay, great question. It was my best friend actually. We were on a hike and she was telling me, I don't know, my sister's been trying to sell for a long time and they're going through realtors like crazy. We're not all built the same, Steph. We're not. So there's a lot of realtors when they go into the real estate field, they want to practice what they call representation for buyers. They want to represent buyers. Buyers, they're people, or buyers like to work with people. There we go. And so that's the best experience for you to kind of get in the field and ask those necessary questions. What are you looking for? What are your plans? Do you have kids? Do you plan on growing a family? Where do you see yourself in the next 10, 15 years? Things like that. So you can kind of work with them and then the people will train them. But in this case, so buyers agents is where everybody gets most of their mentorship when they're getting into real estate. There's something called a real estate agent versus a realtor. Okay, that's
Yeah, so
another.
what's the difference?
So a real estate agent, you just go to school. Right? You pay your fees, you get a license, hang your license with a broker. That broker may or may not require you to be accredited with the National Association of Realtors
Hmm.
or also and Texas Association of Realtors. Those are additional fees that realtors have to pay because they're held at a higher standard with their ethics and integrity and the way we do business. And in order for us to be part of that association, we are given a brand of becoming a realtor. It's a logo that we can add to our business cards, and that's what sets us apart from a broker, which is your beginner broker who may not require those standards. If you want to work for yourself or you just want to be in it for the commissions, they may not hold those standards. So you'll just be a real estate agent. Okay. So you have to know, are you a realtor or are you just a real estate agent?
So let me make sure I understand. Okay, so a real estate agent is somebody maybe right out of real estate school. They've joined a team, and so they might be out to like, okay, well, here, Mr. Smith, go. I would like you to go show this, go to this open house and be there where all these people are coming. Um, so, but once Mr. Smith gets more credentials, then he becomes a realtor.
Close.
Okay.
Okay. So all real estate agents, they may or may not know where they're going to hang their license.
Ah,
The broker who's going to be mentoring and holding the liability that this new person might mess up.
okay.
What are their standards? What is the mission statement? Let's take, for example, buying a pair of shoes, at Louis Vuitton or buying them at Walmart. They may look the same. One might say Louis Vuitton and the other one might say Louis Luton, right? I don't want to diss anybody who's not.
Walmart's good.
I don't want to diss anybody who's not a
Not
realtor,
not a not a
a
paid
realtor.
affiliate.
Okay, I know there are good real estate agents, but these are people who are just wanting to be in it part time.
Sure,
People who don't want to pay a commission split with their broker.
it makes sense.
They don't really care about mentorship. They're more like the solopreneurs. They're like, look, I'm retired. I just want my full 100% commission. I used to do this 20 years ago, 1980s or something like that. I know it's been more than that, obviously, but a lot of the people that don't want to pay those extra fees will get in on a real estate agent contract where they get 100% of their contract's commissions, but they may not always be the best for you because they may not have gone to those extra classes that are offered, or they're if they're treating it like a hobby, then they're going to treat you like a hobby possibly. They
Makes
might not be
sense.
investing in the business.
Makes
When
sense.
you become a business owner and you think, what, this is my business, I am going to invest for that accreditation to be known as a realtor. I am going to be held at a higher standard with my ethics and integrity. I am going to pay that fee. Then what happens is you start, once you put money in something, there's skin in the game.
Mhm.
You're going to end up going to more, education classes. You might actually get an accreditation. In that case, let's talk about short sales and foreclosures for just a tiny bit. Remember we were talking about how there were serious buyers during the time frame when people were losing their houses? People were Robert Kiyosaki says a lot of millionaires are made during a down market. So while people were afraid and running for the hills because the rates were high, the entrepreneurial mindsets were coming in and buying these short sale possibilities, these assignment of notes,
Hmm.
these foreclosures. They were buying them on the Texas Tuesdays, because they were ready for this type of market. I wanted to become an expert, so I actually went to a class called Short Sales and Foreclosures, and you get an accreditation that you pay for, to be part of an exclusive list of people who went to school and study what does it mean to be a realtor who's got a specialty in short sales and foreclosures, right? So yeah, that's basically what I did. So I became short sale and foreclosure certified during
Uh-huh.
that time. So that's the difference between adding the initials, kind of like a doctor who goes,
Sure.
to get an accreditation for being, a plastic surgeon or a specialist with, cardiovascular. Realtors kind of have that capability with becoming a senior residential specialist. People who work primarily with people who are wanting to downsize the senior market, people who want to work with buyers agents. There's buyer agent accreditations. There's, if I want to become an expert on people who want to sell their house, there's sellers representation specialists. There's a couple out there. Yeah, it even goes, we're in military city. There's the military accreditation as well. Yeah, there's a couple.
So it sounds like what sets you apart from other realtors is your knowledge of all of these extra things and all these extra things that it takes to be successful with your to be successful for your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's important. I think
Yeah.
that's really important. So I think when you think about this, is like before, maybe before you hire a realtor, thinking this is that
Hmm.
maybe some advice would be is to interview them to find out if they're a good fit for your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. What I would always recommend to people is you want to check out their energy. Don't shop for your person online because everybody will tell you, and kind of like dating, right? You want to you want to date your realtor. So it's like speed dating.
Hey,
Speed date.
baby.
Hey, tell me about yourself. Where do you come from? What are your hobbies? Like what are you like as a person? Because this is your experience. I always tell people, look, you might like how I work or you might not like how I work. You either do or you don't, but this is your experience stuff. Like this is definitely for you. I want
Mhm.
this experience to be great. And so communication is huge. So I'm already setting the
Yep.
the preface on how our relationship is going to be. And I think you cannot get that from just a phone call.
Yep.
And that's why for me, it was super important to do FaceTime with you and then get to meet you and most of my clients as well. It definitely energy is one of them. And they can go and shop, but they'll all tell you all these things, but it isn't until you sit down and you tell them goals. What are your strategies to winning a contract? How many years have you been in business? Do you have any specialty accreditations? Sometimes those can make people stand apart, but at the end, you kind of want to feel what their answers are. What is their background to see if they have an interest really for you or if they're just chasing a commission. I know we have
Sure.
about 15,000 realtors in San Antonio. When I started, there was only 8,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so now because of TV,
Sure.
it's become very sexy to become a realtor,
Oh, yeah.
but
Woo-hoo.
are they in it really for your needs or are they just chasing a commission check?
So this is all really good advice. Hey, I was gonna tell you, I was offered to buy some properties in the Valley of Egypt, but it turned out to be a
What?
pyramid scheme.
Oh my gosh, goodness.
Sorry, I have to throw these stupid things in. Hey, so I know you love real estate, but
Yeah.
if you could live forever, at least for another 50 years, what other occupation would you like to try?
Mm, good Lord. You know what? For a long
It's
term or
called
for a
it's
short
called
term?
stump the realtor.
I actually, oh, you're gonna laugh. There's a couple. So I love dancing. I always told myself I would like to take a crack at, learning how to do an entire dance scene on a stripper pole.
Oh, pole dancing. Awesome.
Pole dancing, or if not, an entire song doing belly dancing,
Okay.
or some sort of a performance that I can say, hey, God gave me body and moves. I would want to do that. But that's just a for fun thing, like, man, you really stumped me. If I Are you talking about careers, other careers?
Whatever. I mean, it
Ah,
doesn't matter. I mean, this is it's just kind of like it's
hmm.
just kind of a fun personal stuff, non-rehearsed or anything like that. Just kind of a
Yeah, no, that's a
question.
really good
So,
one. I do really like, I believe in karma for sure. So something that would have to do with helping a family. So whether it be surgery, I love biology and science. So something surgery, but I don't like the long hours and the sacrifice of time
yeah,
with family.
that's true.
So the dancing part, that could be fun,
I think
but
that'd be a lot of fun.
that'd be so much
I
fun.
would go watch you.
I'll do
I'd
that
be
in
like,
I'll do that in
"Yay!"
Egypt with you. um yeah, I think, yeah, you really, that's a perplexing question.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna ask another one. If I gave you a magic wand and said, "Okay, with this magic wand, you can change anything," what would you change?
Oh, definitely education, financial education for the basically all the schools. We don't have that anymore. I would be a teacher in the sense that I get to travel around the nation and teach people how to budget their balances. Imagine if we got into every person's house. That sounds creepy.
I know.
That's the
Stalkers! We're not
no.
stalkers.
Imagine this. Imagine if we had those 15,000 realtors. Yeah, no, I'm not stalking people. If we were able to offer education to those families to teach their children, about financing.
How
You
to
know
how to balance a checkbook.
how you
Wait,
know how
do
people
people do
you know
people still use checkbooks? I
no,
do,
no, I
but
don't see. Now it's Cash App, Venmo,
oh god,
Snapchat, Facebook Pay,
nah.
PayPal. I think
I'm so old
we're
school.
doing away with cards now. A lot of people, if they can't pay through Apple Pay or through their phone, they forget their cards. We're not even doing cards are going to be obsolete
So
soon.
how do you manage that? I mean, yeah, so I think that would be a really good
Yeah.
education thing,
Yeah, no,
to
I
do
think
that.
so a little bit, if we have to go back in time, before the real estate industry, I was actually foreclosing on people. I worked, for quite a bit of years, helping a lot of people modify their loans. If they did a trial payment of 3 months where we, subsidized their mortgage payment to like almost half, and they did that for 3 months, we would say, you know what, congratulations, you did what we asked for 3 months. We're going to modify your loan.
Nice.
Yeah, so a lot of the reasons why people defaulted during the last recession was because, the husband lost his job
Mm.
and she was a homemaker, or she was only working part-time, or now he's injured, or now she's in the hospital and it's going to cost a buttload of cash just to get you fine, like. So the reason for default was the curtailment of income, right? So the income is no longer there, but the bills are still coming. Those were the medical expenses. People that, purchased cars where their monthly payment was 800 a month, and they were making a good pay, but now that income, the hours were reduced. Companies have to cut back hours to, budget as a company. The layoffs hadn't happened at the time. So there's a lot of reasons why people were defaulting. And so, yeah, I did a lot of those. And guess what I got for doing such a good job? I got promoted to foreclosures department. You're so great at what you
Oh
do.
my gosh.
I think I'm going to put you with the foreclosure department. So that's where we had to accelerate the payments. Hey, Mr. Smith, unfortunately, I know that we couldn't do a trial payment for you, but now we're going to have to accelerate to catch you up. We need about $74,000 by the end of the month. Yeah,
Poor
no.
people. Oh my
So
gosh. Well, I'm glad you're not doing that
oh
anymore.
no, I went home. I felt like that storm cloud, that mopey, Eeyore. Oh, I'm going home. I gotta go home. I feel bad. I just heard a story about,
Well, sure.
the man running off with a woman and she won't sign the deed off or anything like that. I've heard such bad stories. And you know what could have changed all that? If every realtor had the financial education themselves, they don't teach this in real estate school. Had they told them, look, I have the resources to get you out of debt. I have the resources for a real estate attorney. I have the resources on how to protect your husband or your wife or your children so that you don't have to worry about that, we could actually have curtailed what's happening now today.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's a huge impact. We wouldn't be having the recession or the impact today that we had back then when I was foreclosing on all these people.
Wow.
That's
Yeah, I want to thank you for sharing all your stories. And it just
yeah,
seems like,
absolutely.
gosh, I mean, the more I get to know you, the more I talk to you, the deeper you become. Whoa, and it's just really
Yeah.
really awesome. So for people to reach you, where would be a good way for if people were interested in talking to you some more about real estate or any of the topics that you touched on
Yeah, don't
today?
be shy. You can reach me at 210-504-7505.
All right.
Okay, you can text me there, or if you're kind of shy, introverted, and you kind of just want to look around and see who I am, what I look like, you can go to Realtor Edie. That's
All
REALTOREDEE.com.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess one of the last questions I want to ask you is, what was your favorite part of this episode?
Oh man, I have a couple of them. Well, my favorite part was definitely the laughter. I mean, oh my gosh, you wouldn't know it from hearing me, but I've never been on a podcast before, so this is super fun.
Yes,
And I'm
she's a
so
natural. I'm just kind of sitting
oh
here
my
going,
god,
okay.
I'm so nervous. I think it's maybe because I'm just so comfortable with you, and whatnot. So this is my first
You,
podcast.
you did an amazing job.
And in the whole time, I'm looking at like myself. I'm like, look, I look like a shiny vampire. You know, oh, maybe it's my nervousness where I'm just starting to like profusely sweat through the. And yeah, so no worries. Thank you so much for inviting. Oh, thank you.
You look beautiful.
Oh, we need to go to Egypt and have the Habibis with the, what is it called? The leaf,
palm
the
fans.
palm fan.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Oh man, I'll take that vacation.
Only if they're guys and they look like from Chippendales.
Ooh, okay. Sign me up. Let's do
and
it.
they're straight.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And so I would like to invite you to come back at another point in time and we could talk about another
Yes.
topic with real estate. I hope you enjoyed the show today. And again, if you are looking for a house, Edith is saying that, hey, this is a good time to buy. And if you're looking for a good realtor, I highly recommend her. But do your homework. That is the most important thing, is regardless of who you pick, do your homework and communicate with your realtor.
Absolutely.
Let him or her know exactly what you're looking for so that they can help you the best. So that's really all we have time for today. So thanks everybody. If you like this podcast, please remember it's 50 Shades of Stefanya, and click the like button and the subscribe, and we'll be doing a podcast every single week. So thank you so much. And we will see you later.